I'm Jack Patty, and this is the Senior Minute, successfully serving seniors.
Welcome to another episode of the Senior Service Commission's The Senior Minute. Today we have with us Mrs. Kim Gooch. She's a senior advocate. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
This is the last in a three-part series on a topic that she's discussing, Are Your Ducks in a Row? This last episode we'll go into the details about the last section, the acronym being ROW. So thank you again for joining us. So can you give us a quick rundown again of Are Your Ducks in a Row before we get into ROW?
Sure. So Are Your Ducks in a Row has turned out to be a workbook or guidebook, if you will, just to help families and seniors learn and plan so that they can live and end well. So having your ducks in a row simply means being really organized and prepared for something that's going to happen in the future. And we all know that we're all going to age, and eventually we're all going to not be here. So let's do that the best we can. We plan for lots of things, so let's kind of adopt our planning, for births and weddings and all the things, retirement. Let's adopt that same kind of mindset for aging and get our ducks in a row.
That's right. Well, what a good idea.
Yeah.
That is a great idea. So let's get into the ROW. So
Sure.
Rapid response file.
Yes. So as you know, each section of the book follows the acronym Ducks in a Row. Anna doesn't have anything. Ducks, each letter has its chapter. And so ROW, each letter has its chapter. And so the chapter for R stands for Rapid Response File. And so we all know that today a lot of our information is stored electronically. Our medical records are electronic, just a myriad of things, right? And so if we have an opportunity where we need to call for emergency assistance in our home, they need to have ready access to information. What medications are we taking? Who's our doctor? Who's our emergency contact? If that's all stored in the computer and they can't get to it, that just delays things. So if we can have a rapid response file printed out, let your emergency contact know where it is, identify where it is if you can in your home by use of sticker or some other label, and let's make sure that we have in there our current medications, our emergency medical data sheet, a plan for pets if we have them in the home, because we don't want to be taken away from the home or have a car accident and no one goes home and our pets are left. Children, if they're living in your home with you, or dependents, anyone who's depending on you, we need to have a plan for them too. So in the rapid response file, anything that an EMT would need to give you as rapid and efficient response as they possibly could. Now, not only could we fall or have an illness that we need to have a response for, we could have an emergency in our home, a fire, a gas leak, a water break, and so we need to make sure that we have all of those things labeled so that if we have to call for assistance for any of those things, they can quickly shut off our electric, gas, and water. And so we need to have that in our rapid response file. We need to have that labeled, but we also need to have it in our file so that they know immediately where to go to shut those things off. And then we talk about in the rapid response section also some things that you might be able to do in your community if you have enhanced 911 or if you use the Smart 911 app. You can go ahead and they can build a profile for you, and you can go ahead and let them know if there's someone in your home who's dealing with maybe memory issues, vision or hearing loss, if there's mental health issues in your home, all those things you can kind of go ahead and build that in your profile so that if you need to call, the emergency responders would know that. They would know what they're going into. So that's the R, to help you get as rapid and as efficient response to something that you could. And then O, in this section of the workbook we go into just trying to keep ourselves organized online. Now, I am guilty of not visiting a website, for shopping or whatever for a little bit, and then try to go on, and I don't know my password, so I change it. I change it all the time. And I have been guilty in the past of using the same one, just changing one or two little things, and that's not good. So we talk about how to build passwords safely, when to change them, and kind of keep track of when you change them. So we give you a log sheet to get you started. What websites do I visit? What is my password? When was it changed? Now, we don't want to leave that laying out. So we talk about how to secure that. But if that's what gets you started and gets you organized, let's start there. And then we lead you through talking about password journals and that sort of thing, or even online password management systems. We also talk a little bit about how to keep yourself safe, and where to find information on current scams that are going around. So we give you some resources to find that information in the O section. And then the W section, we get here and we want to talk about our life well done. We all want to live our lives, well lived, well loved, well done. That's kind of my sentiment anyway. And so how do we live in a manner that someone would say, that was a well done life? And so let's think through that a little bit. Let's think through, when we are finished with our finite time here, what kind of celebration do we want? Have we secured where we want our remains to go? Who do we want involved? Do we want a big celebration? Do we want a small, not very attentive sort of observance? All sorts of things in the well done section for you to plan kind of what happens after that. And then we also talk a little bit about if there's something beyond our finite time here on earth, and if you have questions about that, where you might find some answers or information, or just explore a little bit about that. So we try to get through just talking about, all the celebrations. I guess you could call that a celebration, or at least an observance of our life. And what are people going to think about and look back on? And what do we want them to remember about us, so that they can say those things. And maybe we need to make a change or two, or maybe we need to do something different in the last years of our life to feel like we've lived a life more well done, I guess. So that's the W.
Well, those are three really, really interesting topics and important topics for people to consider. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So where can this book be found?
For now, you can visit our website. It's www.ducksinarowguide.com.
Okay.
So ducksinarowguide.com. And that will give you some information about where you can purchase the workbook, and some residual things like your password journal. There's some links on there for that if you need one of those. And then also, if you would like to go through this workbook with a group of your friends or your church group or a small group, there's some information about how you can do that as well.
Very good. Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Once again, thank you for joining us for another episode of the Senior Minute. Mrs. Gooch, thank you so much, not only for this episode, but the other two episodes. So many really important pieces of information for people to consider. Thank you, and have a nice day.